What's going on, all you wild psychopaths? It's your two favorite duly appointed federal marshals back here for 31 days of war. I'm the deputy marshal here himself, Logan Myers. It's my good mate over there.
Mark Ruffalo. How's everybody doing? Don't I look just like him?
No, you don't. But that's my good friend over there, Uncle Henry. We're back talking more horror movies. And we wanted to revisit this film that was just released this year on 4K. I happened to pick up the Steelbook and rewatched it and had a great time with this. I remember seeing this movie in the theater in 2010. I was blown away by it. It's still my top 10 Scorsese flicks, which is hard to say because there's so many great movies, but this is my top 5. I love this movie. Beautiful to see in the movie theater. It's dark. It was depressing, visually stunning, and really great twists and turns along the way. A really great ensemble with Leo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo, and hoping one day they return and do a movie together again because I love them in this film.
This is a great adaptation of a Dennis Lehane novel from back in the day. Dennis Lehane, he's known for writing these gritty kind of crime dramas usually. This one is different than all the rest, and this is a different kind of Scorsese movie too. We've seen him touch on some of the horrific and kind of thriller aspects with Cape Fear, but this one really takes the aspect of psychological fear and really does it in a way that's never been done before. This is a visually stunning film starring Leonardo DiCaprio as this agent. He goes out throughout the movie. They're on this mission. They go to this island where there's a hospital for the criminally insane. And apparently this patient has escaped somehow out of her cell. Nobody knows how. There's seemingly no way she could have got out. So he has to get to the bottom of it, investigate this disappearance. And along the way, you see flashbacks from his life and what happened and how Leo's character has went through a serious trauma, which is affecting him throughout the film.
Yeah, and you see that he's going through a lot of shit, losing his family. And you see the flashbacks of that, him being in the war, killing people, Nazis back then, and then him showing up, investigating this missing woman. She got out of her cell somehow, even though it was locked. There's no evidence of her getting taken or anything. So they're really looking into this, and introduce his partner, Mark Ruffalo, his new partner. So you have Teddy and Chuck. Teddy is Leo, and then Chuck is Mark. But they're really great in this movie. They're investigating this. It's really eerie. This big hospital reminded me much of that film back in the 90s, Disturbing Behavior. Like you actually seeing the cells and all the people that are there that have, different illnesses, and a really creepy old lady. She's like, shh, like whispering as they walk into this place. One of the best shots in like horror movies for sure. That's really unsettling, really gets to you.
Very well done. Only Scorsese with those awesome moments where he zooms in just perfectly on the girl. Yeah, it's very, very eerie. Sets the stage for this movie. You don't really know where it's going to go through this investigation. They end up meeting this psychiatrist that is on the island, played by Ben Kingsley, his character, and they sort of like dig in further, and it becomes this thing where Leo's character discovers, there's things about this island that makes it look like they're doing experiments on people against their will. This feels like something that he's seen before in his past, as we see through the flashbacks that he was in the army during World War II, and he had to deal with the concentration camps, going in there, seeing all the horrors from that. And he specifically remembers this one instance where he walked in and there was a German officer who had tried to commit suicide by shooting himself in the head. But the German officer, shot himself in the head, but it didn't kill him. He's still alive. So he has a big gunshot wound from his head and it's slowly bleeding out. But Leo comes in and sees this. He's had to deal with, seeing family members split apart there at the concentration camps, being pulled away from each other, dead bodies everywhere. So really, without spoiling the film, this is about Leo's past trauma, coming full circle. And it happens on this island that he's there to investigate.
Yep. And it really makes you question as an audience, is this really happening, or is this something that it's all happening in his mind, his imagination? It's not really what's going on with this investigation. And you find out there's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of things in this film I did not predict. And a really great script, really great ensemble of actors here. The whole setting production. Set design was beautiful. I love this island, how dark and
Boston Harbor.
Boston Harbor, and it was raining all the time. It's really shitty weather, and it really sets a really great atmosphere for a horror flick. And hopefully one day Scorsese will do another horror flick, because I think he knocked this one out of the park. A movie that kind of flew under the radar, it felt like back then. I don't feel like a lot of people talked about it, but it's one of my favorite Leo movies, and I just love revisiting this one during the Halloween season. Really great supporting cast with Ben Kingsley playing the doctor in the movie. Max von Sydow's like the ex-Nazi, Michelle Williams, Emily Mortimer, ton of people that are really great in this movie. But it's super dark and depressing.
I had a great time revisiting this film. I watched it maybe twice back in 2010. First time at the theater, I enjoyed it then. And on this viewing, I enjoyed it just as much. It's very smart, well done, very well written, and of course directed. It's the master Martin Scorsese. And seeing him on this island, he really does a good job of bringing you into this island. And like you mentioned, the weather, the way there's an impending hurricane they're talking about in there during the film, it really sets the stage. And then eventually with Leo's character and Mark Ruffalo's going into the fortress part of this place, and one of the facilities, it's for the worst of the worst there on the island. So when they finally make it in there and come into contact with people, it's a really awesome scene when he comes into this character Ladis, as the character's name is in there, and he comes into contact. It's this guy with a scar all the way down his face and like really creepy eyes that don't match. Very unsettling stuff. But Scorsese does all the psychological stuff great, like only he could do. I would love to see him return to this genre as well, and even go further into the horror. Like you can only imagine some of the stuff that he could do with the horror movie.
Love seeing Leo and Ruffalo in this film. Really great chemistry, and we like to do the impersonations of these two duly appointed federal
marshals.
We are duly appointed federal marshals.
So with that being said, I'll give Scorsese's Shutter Island from 2010 a 4 out of 5 Leo hair pieces.
Definitely revisit Shutter Island around the Halloween season. It's one that you'll want to revisit and go back. It's very cool to put all the pieces together because it's like a puzzle by the time it ends. So you'll want to go back and try to connect the dots there because you'll have missed some things along the way and didn't add it up. And you can see the whole, how everything happened there by the end of the film. And it's done in a very awesome way. I am going to give Martin Scorsese's 2010 Leonardo DiCaprio starring Shutter Island a 4 out of 5 Ben Kingsley hair pieces.
We're going to be here all month long during 31 Days of Horror, the best month of the year, October. Me and this guy and the rest of the Cinefellas crew talking about horror movies and TV shows. So stay tuned to our YouTube channel right here. If you haven't already, hit subscribe below. And also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, cinefellas.com.
That's right. Like Uncle Logan said, we love horrors on this show. We're always going to talk about horrors, and stay tuned for more 31 Days of Horrors.
And as Uncle Leo said, duly appointed federal marshals are out of here. Until the next review for 31 Days of Horror. Cheers!
Cheers! Show me your IDs, gentlemen.